You are watching this right now because something unprecedented is unfolding on the world stage. When was the last time you saw a former royal, someone who once walked the gilded halls of Buckingham Palace, who sat beside Queen Elizabeth II, who wore the tiara and commanded the globe's attention, reportedly face closed doors at international borders? Let that sink in for a moment, because the whispers currently tearing through diplomatic circles about Meghan Markle's alleged rejection in Dubai aren't just another celebrity scandal. They represent a geopolitical freeze-out, a message sent loud and clear from some of the wealthiest, most influential regions on the planet. And if you think this story ends with a simple travel delay, you haven't been paying attention. Let's start with Dubai, the city of gold, the ultimate sanctuary for billionaires, A-list celebrities, and influencers looking to manufacture the perfect aesthetic. This was heavily rumored to be the Sussex's next escape hatch. But here's the thing about the elite circles of the Middle East. They do not just let anyone into their inner sanctum, especially not someone trailing a comet tail of endless controversy. According to intense industry speculation and insider whispers, Meghan's attempts to secure a high-status foothold in the region hit a massive brick wall. Sources circulating in the media claim her camp was met with the ultimate red light. Now, whether she was physically turned away at a border or politely stonewalled in diplomatic emails, the result is exactly the same. She was reportedly told in no uncertain terms that her presence was a liability. Can you imagine that moment? The realization that your carefully orchestrated global strategy just collapsed. But that wasn't the whole story. Because when Dr. Number One slammed shut, the scramble began. Rumors immediately surfaced that her team pivoted to Saudi Arabia seeking a safe haven and the ultimate status symbol of royal protection. This wasn't about a simple tourist visa. We are talking about alleged behind-the-scenes diplomacy to secure backing from one of the most powerful families on earth. Except they reportedly said no too. And it wasn't a polite decline. The phrase floating around elite circles was unacceptable reputational risk. That is high-level diplomatic speak, for we do not want your problems becoming our problems. In a region that fundamentally values tradition, family loyalty, and institutional respect, waging a public relations war against your own royal in-laws is the ultimate red flag. One anonymous insider whisper even claimed the sentiment was simple. We respect royalty. We don't host people who disrespect theirs. Boom. The nail in the coffin served ice cold. And what happened next would shift the entire landscape of her career. Because while these international rumors were sending shockwaves through the press, a very real, very verifiable crisis was detonating right in her backyard. Let's shift our focus to Hollywood. Coming back to California was supposed to be Meghan's victory lap. She had the title, the contacts, and the global sympathy. But how is that actually working out? The streaming deals that were supposed to build an empire are crumbling. We all saw the massive Spotify collapse where top executives publicly labeled the couple with words we have to censor here, calling them absolute grifters. The podcast barely limped through a single season before being axed. The highly anticipated animated series scrapped before it even saw the light of day. And notice who is not inviting Meghan to their parties anymore. The A-list celebrities, the Beckhams, the Clooneys, the heavy hitters of Tinseltown are quietly backing away into the shadows. You see, the entertainment industry understands one brutal truth. Controversy is only valuable if it translates to massive profit. If your drama generates record-breaking ratings, Hollywood will put up with anything. But if your controversy just creates headaches, legal bills, and PR nightmares without the financial return, you become radioactive. Casting directors stop calling. Luxury fashion houses politely decline meetings. Nobody wants to be the next person who publicly supports a sinking ship only to find themselves dragged into the next scandal. But the financial reality is even more staggering. Let's talk about the Montecito Mirage. Remember that sprawling $14 million estate they bought? The one that was supposed to symbolize their ultimate freedom from the palace. Well, rumors are swirling hard that the financial walls are closing in. Maintaining a mega mansion round-the-clock private security, a massive PR team, and a luxury lifestyle costs millions of dollars in cold hard cash every single year. Without the endless royal purse strings and with lucrative deals drying up left and right, the math simply doesn't work. Whispers of downsizing mortgage pressures and forced relocations are dominating the tabloids. Two people who once had unlimited access to the wealth of an empire are now reportedly feeling the severe pinch of the real world. The safety net is eroding fast. And the reason why is something nobody wants to talk about. It comes down to a complete and total trust deficit. For years, Meghan's public relations strategy was undeniably effective. She positioned herself as a survivor, a mental health advocate, a victim of an ancient, unfeeling institution. The infamous Oprah interview generated massive global sympathy. But here's the fatal flaw with sympathy: it has an expiration date. Eventually, the public starts connecting the dots. When staff members accuse you of bullying, when business partners mysteriously distance themselves, when your own family members are entirely cut off, people start asking the uncomfortable questions. Are you really the victim of every single person you meet? Or are you the common denominator? The Buckingham Palace bullying investigation remains locked away, completely buried from the public eye. But the damage was done. The former staffers in the UK who came forward never retracted their claims. In fact, reports suggest that American employees have experienced similar friction. When you leave a trail of burned bridges across multiple continents, you cannot just hire a new crisis management firm to fix it. You cannot PR your way out of a behavioral track record. Which brings us to the tragic collateral damage of this entire saga. What about Harry? According to deep palace insiders, the Duke is experiencing a profound isolation. He has been taking solo trips, reportedly trying desperately to keep a foot in the door of his old life. Friends from his past claim he is frustrated, quietly admitting that he misses the structure, the deep sense of duty, and the lifelong bonds that came with being a working royal. But the bridges haven't just been burned, they have been vaporized. The destruction of the brotherly bond between William and Harry is one of the most tragic royal downfalls in modern history. These two men survived the unimaginable trauma of losing their mother together. Now, they are locked in a silent, bitter standoff. Sources close to the future king claim William views his sister-in-law as a master manipulator who fractured his family for the sake of Netflix headlines. And William, who holds the keys to the future of the monarchy, has allegedly made sure that the diplomatic backchannels know exactly where the palace stands. So what is the endgame here? Where does someone go when the international doors are locked? Hollywood is turning a blind eye and the royal gates are welded shut. The desperation phase is reportedly setting in. We are seeing a frantic scramble to rebrand, to launch new lifestyle ventures, and to call in favors from old contacts who simply aren't picking up the phone anymore. It is a masterclass in how not to manage global influence. Meghan walked into the royal family with limitless potential. She had the world in the palm of her hand. If she had shown patience, built alliances, and modernized the institution from within, she could have been an unstoppable beloved force for decades. Instead, she chose confrontation. She chose the quick payout of tell-all documentaries over the long game of diplomatic respect. The world is watching right now, and they are not seeing a triumphant story of independence. They are watching a self-inflicted collapse. You cannot build a lasting empire on resentment, and you certainly cannot demand the world's respect while publicly dismantling the institutions that gave you your platform. So, I want to hear from you. Are the rumors of this global freeze out the ultimate karma? Or is the media simply tearing down a woman who dared to speak her mind? Will Hollywood ever welcome them back? Or is this the beginning of the end? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because the algorithm loves a good debate. Make sure you hit subscribe and ring that notification bell, because this story is evolving by the minute and you won't want to miss what gets exposed next. But the Hollywood freeze-out doesn't stop at lost party invitations. Let's talk about the ultimate power players, the talent agencies. In April 2023, the industry trades exploded with the news that Meghan had signed with William Morris Endeavor, universally known as WME. This isn't just an agency, it is the absolute pinnacle of Hollywood kingmaking, run by the legendary Ari Emanuel. Signing with WME was supposed to be the ultimate shield. It was supposed to signal to the world that Meghan was ready to build a billion-dollar empire. But behind the closed doors of Beverly Hills conference rooms, a very different narrative is leaking out. According to explosive industry whispers and reports from high-level insiders, the relationship has been on life support. Rumors completely flooded the media that Meghan was quietly let go by the agency following a string of behind-the-scenes clashes. The word floating around the insider blogs too demanding. Now, WME's PR department quickly issued a statement denying the split, insisting they still represent her in the Archewell brand. But in Hollywood, you have to read between the lines. Notice what the agency isn't doing. When a major publication branded her with the devastating nickname Duchess Difficult, an agency like WME would typically deploy an army of fixers to crush the story threaten access to their other A-list clients and go to war for their star. Instead, silence. Industry insiders claim that Ari Emanuel himself hasn't taken a direct meeting with Meghan in over a year. The protective bubble has completely popped. You see, an agency takes 10% of your earnings. But when you aren't producing blockbuster deals and instead you are generating endless PR headaches, that 10% simply isn't worth the trouble. Hollywood is ruthless, and the town is currently watching to see who blinks first. And if you thought the agency drama was bad, wait until you hear what happened to her master business plan. Let's pivot to what was supposed to be her financial saving grace, her lifestyle empire. You probably remember the grand sweeping Instagram launch of American Riviera Orchard. The vintage aesthetic, the mystery, the carefully curated jars of jam sent to a select group of influencers. It was pitched as the next Goop, a billionaire-tier brand that would finally make the Sussexes financially independent. But there was one massive embarrassing problem. They allegedly forgot to secure the trademark. In a blunder that had corporate executives absolutely cringing, the United States Patent and Trademark Office pushed back hard. You cannot easily trademark a geographic nickname like American Riviera because it belongs to the public domain of Santa Barbara. Add in the fact that other local businesses immediately filed complaints, and the entire launch was dead in the water before a single product ever went on sale for the general public. Months dragged on. The momentum vanished. The public moved on. So, what does a PR team do when backed into a corner? They scramble. In a sudden, chaotic pivot, Meghan recently took to social media to announce she was completely abandoning the American Riviera Orchard name, the new brand, as ever. She filmed a casual garden video claiming she had this name secured for years, and that the pivot was all part of the master plan. But nobody in the industry is buying it. It reeks of desperation. It gets worse. Almost immediately after the As Ever announcement, a small independent New York City clothing brand stepped forward, claiming they already use that name and want absolutely nothing to do with her. It is a masterclass in how not to launch a business. You don't tease a global audience, fail to secure your legal rights, vanish for months, and then quietly change the name while stepping on the toes of independent creators. In the Middle East, they saw reputational risk. In Hollywood, they see something much worse: terrible business sense. But surely the streaming giant Netflix is still in their corner, right? Well, the truth about their new contract is going to shock you. We all remember the headlines from 2020. The Sussexes signed a gargantuan historic deal with Netflix, reportedly worth a staggering $100 million. It was the ultimate golden parachute. For 5 years, they had a blank check to produce inspiring, world-changing content. But as that 5-year expiration date loomed closer, the media started circling. Would Netflix drop them? Would they be unceremoniously dumped like they were by Spotify? Recently, the PR machines went into overdrive, proudly announcing that Archewell Productions had secured a new multi-year deal with Netflix. Her fans cheered. Her team took a victory lap. But if you actually understand entertainment contracts, this new deal is a massive downgrade. They didn't get another $100 million blank check. What they signed was a first-look deal. Let me explain what that means in Hollywood speak. A first-look deal simply means that when Meghan and Harry develop a new show concept, they have to pitch it to Netflix first. If Netflix likes it, they buy it. If Netflix passes, the Sussexes are allowed to go pitch it to Amazon or Hulu. Netflix is no longer paying them a fortune just to exist. They are only paying for what they actually want to produce. And given the reported viewership numbers of their recent solo projects, which failed to crack the global top 300 charts, Netflix is holding all the cards. The guaranteed money is gone. The era of the mega deal is over. They have transitioned from being the crown jewels of the streaming wars to being just another struggling production company hustling for a green light. They are completely reliant on her upcoming cooking and lifestyle show, With Love Meghan. If that show bombs, the Netflix safety net completely vanishes. And as the financial and professional walls close, in the personal isolation is reaching a devastating new level. Let's cross the Atlantic and look at what is happening to Prince Harry right now. For years, the narrative was that Harry and Meghan were a united front against the cruel, unfeeling machinery of the British monarchy. But the reality of their exit is far darker, and the timeline is actively being rewritten by palace insiders. A bombshell new biography by deep-rooted royal reporters recently revealed that the absolute meltdown of Harry's relationship with his father and brother didn't start with the Netflix documentary, and it didn't start with the Oprah interview. It started before the wedding. The intense demands, the constant friction with staff, the immediate positioning of themselves as victims, the cracks were there from day one. William allegedly saw the writing on the wall, warning his brother to slow down. But Harry, blinded by the whirlwind, completely turned his back on the only family he ever knew. Fast forward to today, and the isolation is total. After the explosive release of his memoir Spare, where he aired out his brother's deepest secrets, the doors to Kensington Palace and Buckingham Palace were bolted shut. Harry's only remaining lifelines to his former life were his cousins Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. They were the last royals willing to be seen with him, the last connection to his roots. But even that bridge is now reportedly burning. According to massive leaks in the British press, Meghan has allegedly issued a strict mandate cut the cousins off. Why? Because Beatrice and Eugenie carry the heavy baggage of their father, Prince Andrew, and the horrifying scandals surrounding him. In a twist of absolute irony, Meghan, who has built an entire brand on complaining about being iced out by the royals, is reportedly forcing her husband to ice out his last remaining family members to protect her new As Ever brand from negative association. There is even a bizarre, tragic rumor floating through palace circles that Prince Andrew reached out to Harry hoping to form a bond because they are both mistreated spares who have been cast out by the king. Meghan was reportedly absolutely disgusted by the idea, instantly shutting it down. She knows the Andrew association is radioactive, but in doing so, she has severed the final thread connecting Harry to his homeland. Look at the board. The Middle Eastern royals won't take their calls. The Hollywood elite are looking the other way. The mega agencies are distancing themselves. The lifestyle brand is a chaotic mess of lawsuits and rebrands. The guaranteed streaming millions are gone, and the British royal family has employed their most devastating weapon, absolute terrifying silence. So, where does this leave the Duke and Duchess of Sussex? It leaves them on an island of their own making. This is no longer a story about a modern couple fighting for freedom. It is a masterclass in hubris. It is the ultimate cautionary tale of what happens when you believe your own press, when you burn every bridge that ever supported you, and when you mistake temporary public sympathy for permanent loyalty. They wanted the privileges of royalty without the duty and the adoration of Hollywood, without doing the actual work. Now they are finding out that the real world doesn't care about titles. The real world cares about results, credibility, and trust. And right now, the Sussex brand is bankrupt in all three. What do you guys think? Is this new As Ever brand going to be the massive comeback she desperately needs? Or is it just another doomed PR stunt? And more importantly, do you think Prince Harry will eventually wake up and realize what he gave up? Or is he trapped in this California nightmare forever? Let me know your unfiltered thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed this deep dive and hit that subscribe button so you never miss an update on this ongoing collapse. Welcome to the real world, Harry and Meghan. The safety net is officially gone.